Will AI decide who gets ahead at work?
There's a gap being created between those that are very good using AI and those that are lagging behind. If you don't know what capabilities AI has, then you're already lagging behind.
And it's not a gimmick anymore. Your job might be at risk.
One person or a very small team of people can do a lot more jobs by means of using AI. Many people think this is going to happen in 20 years. No, it's not in 20 years. Maybe in 3 years, maybe less. There's no time to adapt. And if you have to learn, might as well start now, or you'll be completely outpaced. Once most jobs are replaced and people lose their income, what happens then?
Will AI decide who gets ahead at work? Welcome to yet another episode of The Future Outlook. You're with Lewis and Niharika, and today we're going to discuss further how AI is affecting the job market at this time. Hi, Lewis.
Hello.
Don't you think that AI is becoming a new advantage for some, but a disadvantage for many?
I think there's going to be there's a gap being created between those that are very good using AI and those that are lagging behind and they're still using AI as a question and answer kind of a tool. Maybe 4 years ago that was the case, 3 years ago maybe that was the case, but nowadays AI is so much more, and I don't think many people realize the gap that has been created between those that know and are on the frontier side of what can be done and those that are just lagging behind and still using AI as you'd use Google.
Yeah.
And I think that's the major thing, that people need to realize where they stand and understand the capabilities of the tools already available. Because the fact is, the gap between those that know how to use AI in all its full capabilities and those that are still using AI as a question and answer kind of an engine, not unlike you'd use Google, for example, to try to find something, there's an increasing gap there. And the reason why there's an increasing gap is because the capabilities of the frontier models, including agentic models, is now allowing the advanced users to do a lot more and to become superhumans in that sense. So it's very difficult if you don't know what capabilities AI has and you don't know what you can do with it and you cannot imagine use cases for it, then you're already lagging behind. So if you are, let's say if you are a ChatGPT user or a Claude user, whatever, but if you are an LLM user and you are still interacting with the LLM on the question and answer type of thing, and that's all you're doing, I'm sorry to say you're not using AI. It will be basically using a chatbot, right? To use actual intelligence, you need to actually give it use cases that you want to build towards, give it goals, give it challenges in the sense of understand what are the flows that you are working on your day-to-day, what is your workflows, and then create those workflows into an AI agent to do it for you, right? So for example, Cloud Core can manipulate your files on your computer, can connect to all kinds of systems online, and you can interact and use very advanced tools that otherwise you'd not be able to by means of using AI as an interface to do that for you. Just tell it what you want and it builds it for you. Now, that is, at least that my opinion is that many people are still not aware. And our show, for example, one of the goals I have for the show is to make sure that we communicate to our humans out there that a lot of things can already be done that they may not be aware of because they never tried, because they are still stuck on the chatbot kind of a system and relationship where they're just asking questions, getting answers, or asking questions that normally they would ask Google before. Even Google is changing. We were having this conversation today where they are implementing so much more AI into the answers themselves, into even the Google reviews on Google Maps, for example. Now it's getting you like insights by AI. AI is going everywhere. It's changing how Google operates as well. But most importantly, and just circling back here, is that you need to be learning how to actually use the full capabilities of the current models as they currently stand.
Yeah.
And that means connecting AI to other systems. And it is super easy. You just go to, let's say you install Cloud Cowork, you go to settings, connectors, and you just can connect all kinds of tools. It already has native integrations with a lot of tools that you use on a normal day, or that usually before you add to hire freelancers to do. Let's say you'd go on Fiverr and you'd find someone to do a specific kind of a task because it's a bit more technical and you really don't know how to do it. But that is completely changing because you can now do a lot more of those things yourself by means of using the AI. And platforms like Fiverr are losing traction the same way that Stack Overflow, that was a major platform for developers, has completely lost traction and momentum and traffic because now the code is being generated by AI. So you don't need to go and find what other humans are saying about how to resolve problems and fix problems. So the same way that platforms like Fiverr and marketplaces like Upwork are going to be suffering a lot because the Fiverr freelancers that you had before, that you needed to go and ask for a thumbnail design or for a translation or for this or for that, there's no more need for that. There's no more need for that. One person or a very small team of people can do a lot more jobs by means of using AI. But again, I think there's a huge gap between understanding what AI can do. Many people believe AI is, you go on the ChatGPT, you see that chat interface, you ask questions, you get answers, and that's the kind of relationship you have. If you're doing that, I'm sorry to say, you're using it as a chatbot. You are not actually using intelligence to the full extent of the capabilities. What you want to be able to do is for it to overcome obstacles, take actions, replace parts of your job or your tasks or your day-to-day workflows and execute them for you. If you're already on that level, then yes, you are using AI as at the current level of capabilities. But if you're not doing that, then you still have a lot to learn, and it's not going to be a course that you're going to take for you to be able to learning those things. This is a time for being hands-on on getting stuff done yourself. Ulrike, what would you say to our audience on what they can do to learn and use AI in a more robust way?
I remember there was a time when, you know how we have all of these courses, digital marketing and obviously performance marketing falls in the same criteria. And a lot of the courses that I think about right now that AI is developing every day, I am personally not convinced that anything can help us until unless what you said just now, that we have to be very hands-on. And if you're not hands-on, there is no way we are understanding what is happening, right? And anyway, how do you play catch-up, right? How do you play catch-up with changes that probably go live by the time you're in the bed? And next morning, the whole, the tool has changed. You cannot learn until unless you know what's happening in the market. Like you mentioned, Google, it changed so rapidly and we could see it coming. We could not see it coming months ago, but we could see probably 2 days ago that, okay, they're making some changes, because we could see changes on the back end happening. And I think anybody who wants to understand what's happening within their organization, especially when it comes to business, sales, AI is everywhere for customers to look at, for customers to use, right? For a business such as ours, if we are not on tools which are more user-friendly in the sense of, where the user has more say, for example, we discussed it, Reddit as well, right? That if you're not listed on Reddit, or if your business is not talked about on Reddit, right, chat GPTs or the likes of the GPTs will not be able to play catch up to your business as well, because most of these AI tools are using those platforms to pick up information that probably you do not have on your website as well, because you wouldn't have human sentiment on your website, right? No matter how much you try to integrate Google reviews to your website, ChatGPT cannot pick it up. And I think someone who is trying to get ahead of this game has to think of a more well-rounded strategy. Is your PR game strong? Are you getting enough backlinks to your website? Are you getting enough people to talk about your business? And for example, I think there was a time when we was, on different uh, users or on ChatGPT, we were asking that, do you know about this business? Do you know about this business? And we couldn't get the right replies back from ChatGPT, and we were struggling to identify how we can have our business listed there, right? So I think, and I'm talking about a different topic, I think, altogether, because this is not exactly what you asked, but what I'm trying to say is that anybody who is trying to understand the game of AI needs to also take a step back, look at a more holistic viewpoint, in the sense of what is it that you're trying to do by learning AI. If I am today on the outside still looking or trying to get inside the game, I'm already lost. I should already be able to know where all, marketing wise, I can use AI tools, where all I can integrate, where I do not anymore have to draft things, where I do not have to anymore be looking at creatives, because everything can be done very quickly. And the more the quicker things happen, the more I am now succeeding in the business, because I am also able to get things out faster, right? Basically, the idea is that anybody who is in this race has to be 5 steps ahead, but you also have to move 5 steps behind to understand what is your end goal. Like, for example, someone like you enjoy AI, so you are on the top of the game to understand each and everything that is happening in the market. For someone like me who has thought of this as just a gimmick, and it's not a gimmick anymore, it's like literally on, like, in my face, saying that your job might be at risk, right, if you do not leverage this learning period that we have, which is true, right? This is a learning period for everyone. But if you do not get hands-on with the tools that you have, if you do not understand, like you said, how cloud cowork works, or how to actually use ChatGPT to be able to make your flows better, to be able to use AI on your inside Meta, or how to use Google updates in your favor. Like, if I go to Google right now and I open my Google Ads Manager, if I do not know what I'm doing, where my listing should go, how my keywords are behaving, what are the new changes they have released already, I am failing. Because because all the money that is being spent is not giving me any ROI, because there have been so many changes. But if I do not understand all of this within whatever little time span I have lost the game. There is someone out there who's going to make it faster in fixing these things. And at the end of the day, I think that makes a lot of difference, in the sense of what is the end goal, and you try to identify what workflows work for you.
It's important something you mentioned there, which was Reddit.
Yeah.
I would like to address Reddit for a moment, which is Reddit is probably the last true human first platform online, in my point of view. Every other platform is now full of AI slop and AI content and AI generated content that in many cases you cannot even tell if it's real or false. The line between understanding what is AI generated and what it's not is getting thinner and thinner by the day. So at some point, yes, we'll not be able to tell the difference. I think for majority of people, that's already the case, which means that also you can be manipulated very easily, by the way. So you need to be careful when you're looking at content and not take anything face value as being true. In fact, it is likely not true. You have to assume that it's not until verified otherwise. But the Reddit platform is that last platform for humans. And that is the reason why AI LLMs use Reddit as a source of truth for referrals and reviews and etc. And the Reddit has been able to keep bots away and connections of, you cannot automate anything on Reddit. We keep trying. We keep trying. But the fact is you can't, not in any meaningful way. So Reddit, it is that platform that if you crack the code there, you'll be able to be referred by AIs all the time as being probably the top of the game on your industry or your niche. So that is something that I believe that a lot of opportunity exists for humans to reskill and making themselves community managers in Reddit, or to become marketing specialists within Reddit, because that is where the bigger gap will be between automation and AI systems and actually human-driven marketing. So that is something I would recommend everyone to take a look.
But within Reddit also now you have these AI summaries. Like if you could literally go today on the search bar, you could just ask it a question in the sense of, oh, I'm looking for reviews. And it just gives you a review, like a short brief of what people are talking about, the pros and the cons. It's very clean. It is so clean that, I do not have to read through 5 different threads to find my answer, because that particular AI tidbit is giving me everything.
But it is a platform generated summary of human interactions rather than an AI generation, which is that is the point.
Yeah.
And Reddit leadership has been able to steer the platform into being that human-driven, human-first, bots away kind of a platform. And obviously, if they can carry on making that the case, that will continue to be the most relevant marketing platform, because on X, many of the content you see now is AI generated. On Instagram is AI generated. Everywhere is AI generated except Reddit. And again, that's why LLMs use Reddit as a source of truth.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but it's something very funny. You wouldn't believe that if people use ChatGPT to just clean their draft of like writing whatever that they would want to post on a Reddit, people call it out as well. That you used probably some LLM to clean it. Not LLM, but like AI to clean it for the...
Reddit takes that raw human input, even with errors, as more truthful. And this is a very interesting situation that is happening, which is before you'd want polishment. Nowadays you want the opposite of polish, because it makes it genuine.
Yeah, and I think it was also a question of who is competent, because with AI everybody looks competent, right?
True. And again, I'm not a very big fan or user of Reddit myself. I'm unlike yourself, which is you are the most Reddit fan that I've met to date. And the fact is, again, I'm not that big of a fan. I was a huge forum user before, in the time of PHPBB and even before that with older forum softwares since the 90s, I would say. But Reddit, which is basically the next form of that, I've never picked up on that as much. But the point is, if you are a marketeer, Reddit is the platform that you need to be on in order for you to even be able to launch products and to get to be known and to get genuine reviews that will get you listed by AIs. And the likes of Google will be the importance of Google as a search engine will reduce over time as AI will take over recommendations, as an example. Another part I wanted to mention is if you are a founder or a company owner, and about 80% of your company is not being automated or it will be AI based, then you're already going to die in terms of your business will die. And someone else will come on board, will see what you're doing, will automate those things, compete with you much faster, much cheaper. So you cannot compete unless your business is about 70, 80% automated. So if obviously that is going to be the big challenge. Founders have to be very aware of how to use the AI to automate those things, or bring consultants on board to help them do so, or pick co-founders that have that more technical expertise to be able to fill the gap if you have a gap. But at the end of the day, AI will change economy as we know it. Right now, the economy is based on the unit of labor that is counted in hours. And moving forward, I believe that it will be based on compute and based on AI. So it will no longer be the economy based on units of labor, but based on units of compute. Therefore, compute becomes that next oil that fuels everything. And that's why we have a rush on data centers. That's why there's a rush on chips and there's a rush on energy. And energy being the major block of growth for AI, not necessarily chips as of now. Although that obviously the fact of what's happening right now in the Strait of Hormuz is affecting production of ships. But that's beside the point. The point being that moving forward, many of the jobs that nowadays are done by humans is going to be replaced. In fact, something just happened this past weekend, and I went to a coffee shop here in Dubai, in Jumeirah, near the beach, and I had a taxi in front of me that was fully autonomous, and I had a taxi behind me which is fully autonomous, and there were clients inside, and I was like, this is already happening, right? And the cars, they were doing whatever they had to do, and this it's so incredible to watch. Obviously, people that have been driving Teslas in with FSD and full automated already know this, but to actually see
It on the
at
roads.
scale in the roads at scale, and Dubai obviously is a leader in everything AI. Just tells you.
Also credit Abu Dhabi here because that's where it began first.
Actually, in Abu Dhabi, I saw first. Absolutely. And in Abu Dhabi, what I saw first was actually the buses.
Yeah.
Not the individual car taxis, but the bus. So it's just incredible to see. Obviously, UAE as a whole is major in leading AI and AI systems and everything AI, which obviously is the best place in my opinion to be. In order, if you are an entrepreneur, you want to be a founder, the best place to be is Dubai, in my opinion, or Abu Dhabi, but UAE in general. But that being said, it's in my opinion, it's really about what the economy of labor will change in the next few years, and what does that mean for you? Because once most jobs are replaced and people lose their income, what happens then? Who's going to buy the products or services? Yes, it will be much cheaper, but you still need to pay for it. So who's going to pay? How does money mean in that kind of world? And what are you going to do with your time? What is your meaning? Because yes, for most of us, the work we do is meaning, is purpose. What if you lose the purpose? What do you do? Are you going to dedicate to do what? Art? Not all of us are artists. So there will be also a reckoning for most people to find purpose. And the worst thing that can happen to a human being is lack of purpose. And I'll give you an example. There are many people that made millions or even billions of dollars and made companies that they exited, and they did not know what to do with their lives. They partied for a while, but then that gets old very fast. And now what happens next? Philanthropy? Maybe some, yes. Are you going to do so? That lack of purpose, because you no longer are motivated by money in the sense of building wealth, because you already have so much wealth, then the lack of purpose comes in, and it is actually very dangerous, right? So and that happens usually nowadays for most people that have built a lot of wealth and have exited their companies, and now they are in between things. So that is one thing. That will happen to a lot more people moving forward, not because they have built wealth necessarily, but because they have lost their job. They cannot reskill, they cannot readjust to the new marketplace because it is very AI driven. Either you become a founder or a company owner, or you're going to be there's going to be so many jobs you can do. So what do you do? That is a question for everyone here. And when is this happening? Many people think this is going to happen in 20 years. No, it's not in 20 years. Maybe in 3 years, maybe less, maybe more. I don't know. But that being said, it's not going to be 20 years. We are going into an exponential curve, or a double exponential curve, like I've seen some experts saying, that is going to be happening so fast that there's no time to adapt.
Yeah.
So there's going to be people, and I've seen many people, even people that have worked in OpenAI or Anthropic, say that maybe it is better we stop things for a while, but no one is going to stop.
Nobody's going to stop.
You cannot stop.
Yeah.
If what's going across the minds of every CEO in AI is, if I'm not building, someone else will.
Of course.
So if the United States is not leading AI, then it will be China leading AI, and that those kinds of geopolitical competition will force AI to, no one will stop building and more advanced until the point that we might even lose control.
Yeah.
But let's assume the worst. Not the worst. Let's assume the best case scenario, and we don't lose control over AI, and AI does not kill us all. Okay, what will happen then? Either you are a very expert, you either you are an expert in AI systems and how to use AI, and therefore you're going to be able to have a place on the job in the marketplace, or you won't. And if you don't, either you have to learn, and if you have to learn, might as well start now, or you'll be completely outpaced. And if you are outpaced, then there will be no income, and governments will not be able to act fast enough, I don't think, to give universal basic income to everyone. And let's say a country as big as India, for example, with how many inhabitants? 1.2 billion? Let's assume 1.2 billion inhabitants. How is it going to be the case where India can pay, even if it's more, let's assume that more than 1 billion people, how are you going to pay a basic universal income to 1 billion people? You will not be able to. So at that point, what will happen?
I also have this, like what you just said, like the concern of basic income, basic healthcare, because if we are not, and we cannot go, all of us cannot go back to farming. All of us cannot be doing, like, it's like sending civilization back to where they began from. So it's like a whole vicious circle that we are in right now. Either you upgrade, because there's no way we are downgrading, but downgrading is something that will eventually just happen to everyone. Thank you to our audience for watching. If you have any questions, you want to discuss anything, especially with Lewis, who knows about everything, just leave us a comment and don't forget to subscribe.